Welcome everybody to the new 2022 Ulala Clatter Card Guide. I'm Monster. Hopefully you guys are ready for this one. We're going to be talking about Clatter Cards, where to start off with each of your tunes. We're going to talk about getting your Clatter Card bonuses. We'll go ahead and go in detail whenever we talk about that for each of the characters as well. We'll talk about starring up your Clatter cards and finalizing your builds on your Clatter cards, and then we'll talk about some common misunderstandings about Clatter cards. So over here on the right side of the screen, you'll see the best possible choices for Clatter cards that you would hope to see on somebody's tunes. Now, it's not always the case, and we'll go ahead and look at some of those whenever we talk about the misunderstandings of Clatter cards. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about Clatter cards. The easiest way that I can describe Clatter cards is that they are a small puzzle piece that you put together in order to help make yourself stronger. Now, what I mean by that is there are 9 different slots, so 9 different puzzle pieces that you can put together, mix and match however you would like to a degree. We'll go ahead and talk about that whenever we talk about the bonuses. And if you fit them all properly, then they will help make your character stronger. So, as you can see here, we are in the Clatter Card section, Clatter Card tab, if you will. And we have 4 free slots up top, 4 free slots down at the bottom to hold on to different Clatter cards whenever you are first unlocking Clatter cards or trying to finish your Clatter card build. Now, whenever you go into the store, you will also have a storage box, and you have another 4 spots to hold Clatter cards. Now, whenever you do put a Clatter card in these, they will cost you 300 starfish each. So, I would recommend if you have like a 1 or a 2 star, blue, green, or white, go ahead and sell that and bring in a purple or a gold. Now, where would you begin with a DPS character tune, if you will? I would recommend starting off with either going with a T-Rex and a Velociraptor, or what you could do, because this one is purple here, you could start off with a Tyrant Dragon. Entirely up to you. You could also possibly start out with finding a Spino. If you get lucky enough to find one, go ahead and slap that on. And then you could match that with the Dimetrodon. Now, where would you start if you were a tank, either a warrior or a gladiator? My suggestion would be possibly starting out with a Queen Dragon, and then hopefully trying to find a Warg King as well to pair with that. A warrior, you could also go with a giant mountain dragon if you're lucky enough to have that, and a hermit crab. Now, like I said, if you don't find these, it is perfectly okay to go with blues, greens, and whites, but preferably putting the golds, yellows, whatever you want to call them, and the purples, putting them out first will be most beneficial, or holding on to them in your little storage section. Alright, and as far as healer, where would I start out on a healer? I would start with an Irish elk and a sheep. Or you could start with a Mammoth and a Lightning Plush Beast. Those are some simple ones to start out with. Now, I will mention the Clatter cards I called out for the DPS, the tanks, and the healers all require either a 2-piece set or a 1-piece set to activate. And since we talked about where we start with tunes, our next topic is going to be the Clatter card bonuses. So, as a DPS, as you guessed, you want to try to put out as much damage as you can. So we'll go ahead and look at some of the bonuses that a DPS can have. So with having a 6-piece of Giant Jaw, attacks cast 1 bonus layer of Giant Jaw effect. When 4 layers are stacked, next basic attack inflict bonus 124% damage. Next we have Flying Wing. While entering the battlefield, the Flying Wing card causes attack plus 20% and impale plus 600. We have Planes. While entering the battlefield, the Planes card will cause attack plus 20%. We have Volcano next. While entering the battlefield, crit plus 600%. Toast says, while entering the battlefield, crit plus 300 and impale plus 300. Woodland states, while entering the battlefield, impale plus 600. And last but not least, Mountain Range states, if only one kind of Mountain Range card is equipped, basic attack damage plus 5%. So with all that put together, we are getting a lot of extra DPS for our DPS. It's all thanks to the Clatter cards being set up all nice and neat, and with all the nice bonuses that they give us as well. Now we can also go ahead and look at each of the Clatter cards. Because this is a 3-piece Velociraptor, we get an extra 1800 attack. Because this is a 3-star Dimetrodon, we will get attack plus 1800 and impale plus 450. With the T-Rex here, we'll get an attack plus 1800 and crit plus 900. The Tyrant Dragon will give us attack plus 2700, crit plus 900, and also because it is at the 3-star level, it will also grant us another layer of Giant Jaw. And we have a 3-star Lava Beast Chieftain, which will give us 13.5k health and plus 900 on our crit, and will give us another Giant Jaw layer. The Spinosaurus will give us plus 2700 attack, impale plus 1350, and then also, while entering the battlefield, all members attack plus 1800. The Swift Parasauria will give us 9000 health and 1800 attack. Parasaur King will give us 2700 attack and 900 impale. And the Typhoon Dragon will give us 3600 attack plus 900 impale, and will also give us an extra 2 layers of Giant Jaw. And with all that I just read off, that is giving us a buttload of extra damage thanks to the Clatter cards themselves and little bonuses that they have within them as well. And we can go ahead and look at the tank bonuses that we would like to see on tanks. So we have a sheep. It's not 3-star yet, it's at 2-star. But with it being a 3-star, whenever we get that there, it'll give us plus 900 attack, plus 300 armor. This plush beast will give us 13.5k health and plus 450 tenacity. The elk will give us plus 2700 attack and plus 600 armor. The Anki will give us plus 9k health and plus 900 tenacity. The War King will give us 13.5k health and 900 tenacity, and will also help us with the Rainforest Bond, doing an additional plus 25% healing. Queen Dragon will give us 13.5k health and tenacity, plus 1350. And while entering the battlefield, all members HP plus 6300 and armor plus 180. The Sand Fox will give us plus 9k health and 600 armor. The Hermit Crab will give us plus 9k health plus 900 armor. And while entering the battlefield, the Desert Bond has an additional 25% on its effect. And then the Giant Mountain Dragon will give us plus 9k HP, armor plus 1200, and while entering the battlefield, all members HP plus 4500 and armor plus 300. Alright, and to move on to the smaller bits, we have Rainforest here at a 4-piece. While entering the battlefield, the Rainforest card HP plus 24%. When HP falls below 25%, heal 80% of pet symbiosis within 3 seconds. It can only trigger once per battle. For a warrior, you can go with a 4-piece on this, or you can move the 4-piece over to Hard Shell, which says, activate the Hard Shell effect every 4 attacks and obtain 1 layer of shield of 50% of the pet's protection. Up to 3 layers can be stacked. If you were to make that a 4-piece, you would have to attack every 4 times still and obtain 1 layer of shield, but instead of it being at 50%, it would be of 100% of the pet's protection, and you'd get up to 3 layers as well. Being a warrior, you might want to try that instead of going with the 4-piece on the Rainforest. Entirely up to you. You can try both. Next, we have Fluff, which will increase each battle's initial energy plus 1. So what that means is, with your skills, they take a certain amount of energy before they can cast. You'll get a free 1 energy on your first skill at the beginning of each battle. So if a skill takes 3 energy, it'll only take 2 energy to cast instead of 3 because Fluff will give you 1 for free. We have Agile here, which says activate the Agile effect every 4 attacks and restore the HP for Symbiosis times 8% within 3 seconds. Now that would be more so useful if you stack the 3-piece on with a Gladiator because they are more HP based and Warriors are more shield based or armor based. We have Desert. It says when HP is lower than 25%, damage taken reduced by 50% for 4 seconds can only trigger once per battle. And then we have Plains in here just for a little bit of extra damage. While entering the battlefield, the Plains card will cause attack plus 20%. Now, a little bit of extra damage gained with Plains is not going to hurt your tank. Your tank is not supposed to be your DPS at all, but having that there might help in certain cases if your boss is pretty low and your tank's not fully up there. And if you're able to get Plains going, then that might help with getting the boss dead a little bit quicker in the end. Alrighty, and here we are with our healer. We'll go ahead and look at the Big Tongue Flower at 3-star, which this one is at 2-star right now. At 3-star, it'll give you plus 9,000 HP. The Big Tongue Flower will give you plus 2,700 attack and plus 900 impale. The Grey Tiger King will give you plus 9,000 health and 1,800 attack. The Lion Dragon will give you attack plus 2,700, armor plus 600, and also trigger the Solid Bone effect for targets with HP below 30%, additionally heal 5% of attack. We have the Mammoth, which says it'll give you plus 13.5k HP and 1350 crit. And then while entering the battlefield, all units crit plus 450 and impale plus 450 as well. For the White Yak King, we have plus 9,000 HP and attack plus 1,800. We have the Sheep here, which gives you plus 900 attack and plus 300 armor. The Lightning Plush Beast will give you 13.5k health and tenacity plus 450. And then the Elk will give you plus 2,700 attack and plus 600 armor. Now, with the healers, before we go into the smaller bits down here, for the healer, you want to be putting out as much damage as you can because the more damage you do, the more healing you do, if that makes any sense. Let's go ahead and look at the smaller bits. We have Solid Bone, which you can do a 3 or a 6-piece depending on where you are. I think early on having a 6-piece wouldn't be terrible, but later on you'll want to move away from the 6-piece and move down to a 3-piece. But a 3-piece says trigger the Solid Bone effect every 4 attacks. The healer's basic attacks healing effect plus 75%. Now the 6-piece, instead of at plus 75%, will give you plus 150% on your basic attack healing. And then we have Fluff, which we just talked about with the tanks, which will give you an initial energy. We have Plains here, which we've also mentioned on the DPS and also the tank. It'll just help with extra attack, plus 20% attack. Now we have Snow Mountain, which is a really nice one for the healers. It says teammates with HP below 25% healing plus 8%. Now 8% is not a lot, but it's better than nothing, especially if you're just starting out. That's why I said whenever you're just starting out, if you get this going, Snow Mountain, a 2-piece, or possibly even a 4-piece, you could use the Solid Bone. You could probably go 6-piece with Solid Bone to get you extra healing, and then at least a 2-piece for Snow Mountain to help that even more. Now we do have Rainforest on here, which we saw back on the tank, which is whenever you fall below 25% HP, you heal right here 40% of pet symbiosis within 3 seconds, but it can only happen once per battle. Now because this one's at a 2-piece instead of the 4-piece, while entering the battlefield, the Rainforest card HP plus 12%. The 4-piece gave us plus 24, 2-piece will give you 12% health. And then last but not least, we have Deadly Poison, which is very nice. While entering the battlefield, transform one random enemy unit into a pig with the transformation lasting 1 second. It'll stop the monster or the boss that you're fighting for 1 whole second. We'll go ahead and talk about finalizing Clatter cards. This is the main set of Clatter cards that you will see a DPS use. There's nothing wrong with this. This is just straight raw damage, which is very good for DPSs. Some healers may use this at the very beginning because they're confused and they don't know what to do, which is okay because, you know, more damage is more healing. But with that being said, your clatter cards can look a little different as a DPS, especially if you're not hitting as fast as an assassin, which is the fastest attacking character that you can pick. So with this one, he went with Fluff, so that way he could get his initial skill out a little bit quicker, which is not a bad thing. He does have Giant Jaws, which is very nice. He has Oasis, which enemy units with HP below 15% health, basic attack damage plus 35%. He has a 2-piece on Woodland, which is nice. A 2-piece on Plains. A 2-piece on Rainforest, which isn't bad. And a 1-piece on Mountain Range. Now, DPSs can maybe alter and look a little different than that, but those two are the main ones for the DPSs. Now, for tanks, this is the main one that I've seen and one that I've gone with because it feels very trusted, seeing that a bunch of the higher tier players use this specific set of clatter cards. For the warrior here that I'm on, you could opt for going more hard shell, doing a 4-piece on the hard shell and doing a 3-piece on the rainforest, which would give you the 2-piece, which your HP would be at plus 12 and not 24. And you would heal, I believe it is 40 instead of 80. But you would get an extra 50% layer of shielding, which is very good, seeing as warriors are more armor based, so shields are very good for warriors. Now with tanks, you could also go a little different, a little more DPS-y. This guy has 6 pieces of Giant Jaws, 4 pieces of Plains, a 3-piece on Fluff, 2-piece on Volcano, and a 1-piece on Mountain Range. Now, I wouldn't normally recommend going DPS like this on a tank. It can be done, but you don't normally see that. You may see other forms of DPS clatter cards on gladiators and whatnot, especially early on, and if they're set with a 1-3-1 on their attributes. Alright, now for healers, this is more of an in-game setup for clatter cards. I've seen a bunch of the upper players use this. We're doing some extra bit of healing. We're getting our initial skill set out a little bit faster. We're doing a little bit of extra damage, a little bit of extra healing, keeping ourselves alive if we fall below a certain threshold, and we're stunning the target. Alright, this build here is a little different. It's not a terrible one, especially starting out. You have your 6 pieces of solid bone, which will give you 150 extra on the healing, some extra damage and impale because of flying wing at a 3-piece. Then we have rainforest, which will give you HP back whenever you fall below a certain threshold. We have volcano, which will give you some crit, and some coast, which will give you some crit and some impale. Not a terrible way. I would use this one more so if I'm just starting out. That way you get your heals going out as best as you can. Alright, so now we can go ahead and talk about some of the common misunderstandings. A lot of people, I feel like, whenever looking at their clatter cards, they don't fully understand the clatter card concept of putting clatter cards together, seeing what little pieces they have on them, and matching them. So where you get the bonuses for the little pieces that are underneath the clatter cards. And we'll go ahead and show you an example here in just a second. Now this is somebody on one of my friends lists who I found. I'm not making fun of anybody or making fun of, you know, people who don't know clatter cards or who have clatter cards unlocked but are going for like the strongest things, which is a misunderstanding. People think that the golds and the purples are the best things to go for, and they'll just cram all them in the slots that are available, which to a degree they're not wrong, because golds and purples are the strongest clatter cards out there to a degree. And I say that because whenever you start putting them together, you don't have a lot of things connecting. He has 4 or 5 purples here. Yeah, 5 purples and 4 golds. You would think he would be really strong. He has 133k strength in here, which is pretty well. But the bonuses that he gets are not very suiting to helping his team out. A lot of people see the purples and golds and go straight for them, and I have to try to help people and say, hey, you know, that's not the way to go. we'll go ahead and I can try to show you something that'll help you and make you more beneficial for the team. Let's go ahead and look at another example. Now, this is a DPS that I found on my friends list still. Again, not making fun of them, not poking fun at anybody or whatnot, but we're just going to go over this for criticism so that way you guys know what to do and what not to do. So we have 2 different Tyrants and 2 different T-Rexes, which is not necessarily a bad thing to do if you don't have anything else available and you need or want to fill up a slot so that way you can get a little bit stronger. That is perfectly a-okay to do. Now, this is on a mage character, I believe, so Rainforest wouldn't be bad. The only thing that they would have to do would be changing the ones that have Rainforest and going for a 3 set of fluff, so that way they can get their stuff out a bit quicker, because mages aren't the fastest to be throwing out skills and releasing them. Here we have a healer, which we have 6 pieces of solid bone, 3 pieces of sharpened claw, which isn't bad. We have 2 pieces of volcano, 2 pieces of snow mountain, and 2 pieces of woodland. So you get the bonus for a 6 piece on the solid bone, and you get an extra little bit of healing because of the snow mountain on people that are below 25%. Here's a DPS that I found. We have 6 pieces of giant jaw, which is fine. 3 pieces of flying wing, which is fine. 2 pieces of plane, which is fine. Gorge, not sure why they went with Gorge. There's plenty of other options out there that would help benefit a lot more than that. And then we have mountain range. So all in all, this one's not terrible. It's just not fully finalized, and it could be stronger with throwing out the owl and throwing out the sand lizard here. Also, taking the Rodabon out and replacing it with a different Clatter card. Alrighty, that should just about do it and wrap it up for the Clatter card guide video. Hopefully I explained things well enough to you guys. Hopefully you understood it. If you have questions, let me know. I will try to go back and be as helpful as I can in terms of answering your questions and whatnot about Clatter cards. Let me know what you thought about the video. Let me know what you would like to see next. Any ideas on what video you'd like to see next about Ulala. And thanks to everybody who watched the video and stuck through it all. Appreciate all of you, and we'll see you in the next one.